Yeah, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're hearing my voice from. Yes, this is the Biafran Golden Child, and I'm elated, super elated to come your way today. I'm elated because, of course, we are still within the thresholds of a full and successful, achievement of the redeclared sovereign United States of Biafra. Yes, a lot of people think when we talk Biafra, when we propagate Biafra, when we run all this, talk about Biafra, people think probably they are dreaming, probably they are hallucinating, probably they are fantasizing, they are engaging in fantasy. Some say we're drunk, some say, yeah, they've taken too much drink, but of course, we're going to shock them. Will shock them because everything we are talking about Biafra is real. Everything we are hoping about Biafra will come true. Yes, we believe and strongly too that the time will come very soon when this redeclared United States of Biafra, would metamorphose into a powerful, sovereign, strong, united, indivisible country. Yes, it's just a matter of time. It did happen, yes. It happened in America when Martin the Great, late Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about his dream, was talking about oppression of the black Americans. We are talking of the subjugation of black Americans, how they were treated, like almost like animals, how nobody gave them a chance, how they were treated like second fiddles, how nobody ever imagined that the black man will one day stand at par with the white man in America. I mean, but Luther King was dreaming. He said, I have a dream that someday, very soon, men and women will not be judged because of their color, the redness of their skin, the darkness of their skin, but they will be judged according to the content of their character. They will be judged according to their integrity. They will be judged according to what is inside them and not what is outwardly seen. And today we all know, yes, late Martin Luther King may be dead. Yes, he's gone forever. But that dream still became a reality. That dream still stood its ground. Today, men in America have walked free. It doesn't matter your color. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. It doesn't matter whether your hair is curled or afro. It doesn't matter anymore. Just like Martin Luther King said, yes, it has become a reality. Equally too, ladies and gentlemen, fellow freedom lovers, equally too for the former Yugoslavia. Yes, the former Yugoslovakia, yes. People were clamoring. We don't want to belong here. This place is too tough for us. We are subjugated. We are maligned. We are treated anyhow. We are not regarded. We are not. Today, Yugo is no more. Yugoslovakia is no more. Instead, different entities, different countries have come out of it, and they are sovereign national entities. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll say it here today. I'll say it loud and clear. This country we are talking about, the redeclared United States of Biafra, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. You say, I told you. You say the Biafra Superstars Media told you. You say, yes, people talking about Biafra told you. The time will come, yes, when we will be having our own United States of Biafra fully internationally recognized worldwide as a sovereign national entity. Mark my words for that. Mark my words. Is not a delusion. It's not a mirage. It's going to be a reality soon and very soon indeed. Mark my words. That's no fantasy. Mark my words. Yeah. So you're welcome. You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I thought it's just important for us, to reflect briefly on this trial of our maximum leader, Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, because we have seen how the trial is going. It's going back and forth. The trial that started way back 2015, is still going back and forth. I mean, for over 10 years now, the same gentleman has been under one kind of trial and the other. Finally, it is just even in recent times, yes, that we now hear the government, in the person of, the Justice James Omotosho is trying to fight to look for a closure, for a foreclosure of this matter, because according to the Justice James Omotosho, when the case, was brought, to his court, this time to his court at Abuja, Federal High Court at Abuja, now under his umpireship. Yes, he said, yes, I'm aware this matter has moved on and on. Eventually, my uh, fellow judge, yes, uh, she reclosed herself, recused herself from the matter in the person of Justice Binta Murtala Yako. And now this case has been assigned to me. Yes, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, Mr. Kanu, I can see, yes, you've really suffered. Yes, you've suffered enough. Your trial has really affected you. This long stay, even in the DSS custody, has suffered you a lot. Your health has been impacted. I can't imagine somebody going back to back from one trial, back to back from one custody for the past 10 years. I assure you this time around, I'll do everything possible to make sure we achieve a foreclosure of this matter. I assure you that. I mean, we're all on the earth. We want to make sure, we leave our footprints on the sands of time so that when our names are mentioned, they will be mentioned for good reason. That was how uh, Justice James Omotosho welcomed, uh, quote and unquote, welcomed Nnamdi Kanu into his uh, high court. And that's from where the trial started. Ladies and gentlemen, for this audio, I want to title it The Trial of Nnamdi Kanu. The trial of Nnamdi Kanu showcases the pathological hatred against the Igbos. Yeah, maybe you didn't get that clearly. Yes. I said the trial of Nnamdi Kanu showcases the pathological hatred against the Igbos. Why do I say this? Why this very, very, catching title? Give me your ears. Just in a little while, I'll bring you up to speed on why people are feeling that this trial is not just a trial of an individual. It goes a long way. The way and manner it is being orchestrated, the way and manner it is being, allowed to flow, the way and manner it is going, the modus vivendi, the modus operandi of this trial, especially since it entered, you know, Justice James Omotosho's revered High Court, has shown that there is more to it than meets the eyes. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's listen, let's reason together. Because you know what we'll do in the Biafra Superstars media? Yes, of course, we call a spade a spade. We don't describe it as an agricultural instrument. We call it what it is. Give me a spade. I need a spade. I want a spade for what a spade does. We don't go around describing it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I beg you, give me your ears as we, journey. Yeah, since this trial of Mazen Kanu, let's leave the ones that happened during PMB. Let's leave the ones that happened under the former Justice Binta Motala Yako, in which eventually our Mazen Kanu came out bluntly and vigorously and, you know, he came out clear and simple and said, I cannot guarantee, I cannot get justice from this woman. I cannot get justice from this woman who is the justice of this high court. Yes, I've seen a lot of bias. I've seen a lot of premeditated, decisions. I've seen that apparently she doesn't like my name. She doesn't like my color. She doesn't like my roots, and so she seems to be pushing an agenda, to make me guilty, confirm me guilty, pronounce me guilty at all cost. I cannot, I cannot continue to be tried under this kind of auspices, under this kind of conditions, where, of course, pride and prejudice, where, of course, a premeditated conviction is already in the air. And so I beg the powers that be, I don't want to be tried in a court the outside the southeast. This is where you people are accusing me of. Yes, this is where the so-called charges against me emanate from. Try me in the southeast, other governor, other judges from the southeast. There and then I can say yes. Let my own people try me. But as far as Justice Binta Moritala Yako is concerned, this trial is not taking me anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, true to his words, as if the gods who are listening to him, eventually Justice Binta Murtala Yako voluntarily, yes, on her own volition, recused herself from every matter from the trial of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. And even when she was, appointed again to, she said, no, Justice, the same Nnamdi Kanu repeated his vociferous, you know, uh, uh, conclusions. His fears that he will not be given a fair trial under Justice Binta Nyako, Murtala Nyako. And of course, finally, his case was transferred to Justice James Omotosho of Federal High Court 7 Abuja. Ladies and gentlemen, we saw what happened at that court, the first sitting under James Omotosho. Yes, we saw how, of course, we, we saw how, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu had to, resuscitate his legal force, bringing in such a legal giant, a giant like Chief, Kanu Agabi, 2 times Attorney General of this federation, and some other sons, to join forces with Chief Aloy Ejumako, to pursue his defense. So, of course, the first hearing was, they all sat down. Of course, Kanu Agabi apologized on behalf of his client over any breach of, rules and conduct within the courts. Of course, equally, we saw how James Omotosho, equally apologized to Nnamdi Kanu and told him, I'm sorry you have suffered so much. I promise you it's going to get better now. I promise you we're going to be through with this in no time. Ladies and gentlemen, the second time of the trial, the second day, we saw to our shock and chagrin how marksmen were brought as defense witnesses for the zoo government. Marksmen who they claimed were DSS operatives were brought in, masked. And of course, their voices were obliterated so that nobody can easily recognize them. And this came up and said, yes. So, of course, we saw at the third hearing again how this marksmen, we saw how, of course, they started admitting to, evidence and the exhibits what the so-called marksmen said they had found. Yes, but of course, ladies and gentlemen, when they began to play audio tapes of what they found or claimed they found in possession of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, they were playing audio tapes where he was quoted as saying so many things, which are not new, of course. If you look at the context of that matter, of course, whatever they said he was saying, how he encouraged people during NSAS, to make Nigeria ungovernable, how he said people should make the Southeast ungovernable, how he said the youths and the strong should take over the town and all that, take over any place, including government offices, even police stations. We heard so much, audios being played here and there, paraded here and there, and being accepted as exhibits. Of course, it became clear to us, very obvious to us, that of course, once again, this zoo government was, playing its own game. It's trying to orchestrate what we already know they do, especially when it comes to the Igbo man. Of course, let me tell you here, ladies and gentlemen, everybody knows who was the convener of the End SARS movement. We know who were the conveners, Sowore and Co. We know what Sowore said openly. We know what he said blatantly in all the mass medias. We know what he said everywhere. Of course, he was tried. Of course, he was acquitted. Nobody called him a terrorist. Nobody called him, a secessionist, today is an ex-presidential candidate, today is walking free. Ladies and gentlemen, let's detour back to Radio Kudirat. Yes, during the, MKO Abala saga. Yes, like I said, during the MKO Abiola saga, after the 1993 elections, when eventually MKO was incarcerated, when eventually Kudirat, his wife, was equally, assassinated. Of course, we saw how the Southwest militias, then, of course, we had somebody like the current Emilio Khan as one of the pioneers in that struggle. Of course, we know what Radio Kudirat meant. We know what they said. We know how this same president today, the man who called himself Emilio Khan, we know all the things he said about Nigeria. We know all the things he said about this country. We know how they were marshalling out, actions, marshalling out duties, and telling the youth to take over Nigeria. We heard how they said they will make Nigeria ungovernable. We heard how they said, look, Nigeria cannot move forward. We must stand on MKO election. We must stand on June 12th election. It was because of all these permutations, because of all this propaganda, because of all this, whistling and shuffling. Ladies and gentlemen, that of course made the whole country, Nigeria, especially the northern political hegemony. That was what made them accede the leadership of this country to the Southwest. And eventually, a former head of state, in the person of Chief Chief Obasanjo, Olusegun Obasanjo, was once again, elected, quote and unquote, selected, maybe, quote and unquote, to be the next president of this country. And of course, because of Radio Kudirat, because of all their, permutations, because of all their rhetorics, because of all their propaganda, especially concerning the MKO 1993 election saga, of course, the Southwest became beneficiaries of that propaganda. Nobody arrested Emilio Khan as a terrorist. Nobody arrested him as a secessionist. Nobody came and played audios that they claimed were from him. But we all heard those audios. We all listened to it. If you bring it up on a face value, of course, they proclaim terrorism. Of course, they proclaim secessionist tendencies. Of course, they are terribly, uh, in line with felony activities. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's come back now. Here we are. Or maybe let's go down to the southwest, south. We are, of course, following the killings of Ken Saro-Wiwa, who agitated for, a cleansing of the Ogoni land. You come and take oil in our place, eventually let the oil, pollute all our waters, all our land. Our people cannot farm, our people cannot fish, our people, no, any fish from the water is poisoned. Our people cannot move forward, our people cannot develop. And you think we can continue like this? Nowhere. Eventually, under the leadership of Abacha, Mohamed Abacha, Ken Saro-Wiwa and his group were arrested. Of course, they were tried and they were sentenced to death by hanging. Of course, as soon as that was over, the South became, a beehive of militant activities. People threatened all the foreign oil companies doing business in the South. Their tunnels were bombed, their facilities were bombed. There was total mayhem there. Eventually, ladies and gentlemen, Nigeria capitulated. Yes, they listened to the militants in the South. And what do we get? It produced a South president, first as a vice president, and then as a president, in the person of President Goodluck, Ebele Jonathan. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the time of the Southeast. Yes, our people have been clamoring for liberation of the Southeast from the subjugated position that has been foisted on it by the Nigerian authorities. Yes, by the Nigerian government, by the Nigerian people. I mean, this is Southeast that contributed immensely during the liberation of this country, especially from the Jack, or the European Jack of England. I mean, our people campaigned vigorously, fought against British colonial masters, and in fact, it is on record that the Southeast produced the highest number of nationalists before Nigeria got its independence in 1960. So it became a big shame, a big embarrassment when we now saw that the same Southeast that has fought vigorously for the liberation of this country is now being subjugated, you know, to a very, very totally unacceptable conditions. Its people were treated like second fiddles. Its people were treated like unwanted people. So when the whole world, when our people began to experience these things, especially because of the issues of 1966, 67, 68, 69, 70, especially because of the so-called Igbo Q, Igbo Q led by Major Cardinal Nzogo. Of course, we have seen in recent times that that Q was not an Igbo thing. We have seen in recent times that it was not in any way favorable to the Igbo people. But all we heard was that it was Igbo Q, and because of that, the North, which decided to retaliate. The North declared a vendetta against the Southeast that's led to undue killings here and there, starting from the North down to every other region. Finally, when the South said, okay, let's go home back to our Southeast, they chased them there, and of course commenced a civil war in which more than close to 5 million Biafrans were killed. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now a sort of, it's coming back again. Yes, the trial of Nnamdi Kanu is bringing back, showcasing this pathological hatred against the Igbos again. Imagine marksmen bringing out all manners of audios that have been accepted as exhibits, that are played in the full hearing of everybody. Where Nnamdi Kanu is quoted as saying all he's saying. Of course, we know what is happening. Most of those things do not emanate from our own son, Nnamdi Kanu. And even if most of the quotations emanate from him, they are being quoted out of context. These quotations, yes. These declarations, yes. These audios that he made, if he made some, were done in reaction to other messages, to other audios that emanated from the center. For instance, ladies and gentlemen, there was a time when Wike, the FCT minister, then governor of Rivers State, yes, he brought out a bounty for the head of Nnamdi Kanu. Said, anybody who can give me the head of Nnamdi Kanu will be given such and such number of millions. I don't want to be quoted verbatim. Of course, if Kanu said his own, he said it equal in retaliation to what Wike, how Wike could so, shamelessly and shamefully, make such proclamations. Today, Wike is a free man, but they're using that same audio to judge Nnamdi Kanu. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth of the matter is, I don't know what is wrong with my fellow Biafrans. A lot of us, we don't look as deep as we should. We're living like things are normal, and it hurts me. I mean that somebody is showing you, an acute. Somebody is manifesting dislike, distaste. Somebody is showing you by his attitude, by his stance, by his pronouncements, even by his general conduct towards you, that he doesn't like you. He doesn't want you. He's jealous of you. He doesn't like the breath that you breathe, the breath that you breathe. He doesn't like, somebody is showing he doesn't like the breath that you breathe. He doesn't like the water that you drink. He doesn't like the fact that you're dressed well. He doesn't like the fact that you're surviving. They want you there. They want you to be a beggar. And they're saying you're thriving. They're not happy with you. And yet you that is been very glaringly and very flagrantly uh, hated, despised, you are acting like you don't know you are despised. You are hated. That is a lot of our Biafran people. I mean, I don't get it. Why would we always fall, or play to the gallery, pretending everything is well? We play the ostrich all the time. I mean, here's an ostrich seeing an impending enemy that could even consume it or kill it. Rather than attack the enemy, rather than flee, the ostrich tries to bury his head in the sand. Dig your head into the sand and think, you're not seeing. The person is not seeing your head. But meanwhile, he's seeing your gargantuan backside. So that is what is happening to our people in the southeast. I think it's about time we wake up from that slumber. The trial of Nnamdi Kanu showcases the pathological hatred against the Igbos, because of course we are seeing in clear terms, no longer hidden, how people are throwing aspersions against our people, how things said by our people are blown out of proportion, how they're quoted, our Muslim leader is quoted out of context, how in fact it seems as if conclusions, verdicts have been passed just hearing those audios. Yeah, but I have a shocker for them, for people who hate Ndibo, those who hate Biafra. I have a shocker for them. No matter what the Germans under Adolf Hitler did to the Jews, exterminating millions and millions of Jews, the Jews still thrived. The Jews still overcame. The Jews are still the rulers of the world. Yes, the Jews have been scattered in all parts of the continent, in all parts of the world. Today, there are American Jews. Today, there are Scottish Jews. Today, there are British Jews. Today, there are Arabian Jews. Today, there are African Jews. Jews are scattered all over the world, and they are still leaders. They are still leaders in industry, in science, in medicine, in technology, in the arts, in the sports world, in explorations in Mars, in Moon, astrological explorations, name it. Where are the Jews not leaders? That is the same message I have for all those people who hate the Biafrans, who hate Ndibo for what we are what. They hate us for being able. They hate us for daring to stand up from the crowd. They hate us for daring to want to achieve. They hate us for daring, aspiring to be leaders. They hate us for our economic achievements. They hate us, for intellectual achievement. They hate us because, of course, we have ventured into banking, finance, into aviation, into estate, and we seem to be doing better than a whole lot of them, even though we have never achieved or attained the ultimate position of rulership or leadership in this country. Those who hate the Ndibo hate us for nothing. The Ndibo will still be leaders. Take it or leave it. We have the Jews in us. Yes, we have the Jew. We are children of Yahweh, even though we are Nigerians. And we know because we have Yahweh blood in us, we shall excel. We shall overcome. Come rain, come shine. So it doesn't matter the dimensions Nnamdi Kanu's trial is taking. It doesn't matter how many marksmen bring any audios. Play it the way they play it. It doesn't matter what accusations, what charges they raise. At the end of the day, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu shall walk scot-free. We know, because all those things are baseless. There's nobody who didn't do them. Showere from the Southwest did it. Today is an ex-presidential candidate. He's walking free and tall. He's a human rights activist. Adeyojo did it. Today is walking free. He's a human rights activist. Emilio Kor did it. Today, the president of the zoo is walking free. You know, he said it all, even worse things during the MKO saga through Radio Kudirat. We know, we know the days of Action Congress. Yes, and the Action Group. We know. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you hate the Igbos, if you hate the Biafrans, you hate them in vain because they have the DNA for growth and development. Yes, like the lizard whose tail you cut and it regrows its tail, they will continue to regrow. They will continue to regrow, regroup. They- yes, it doesn't matter how many times you cut them. It doesn't matter how many times you hurt them. They will continue to regroup. They will continue to regrow. And of course, they will overcome because they have Yahweh, because of the Jewness in their DNA. Ladies and gentlemen, this audio will not be complete if I don't make this clarion call to my fellow Biafrans. Ladies and gentlemen, let us support everything Biafra. How many of us have, the portal? How many of us have the portal of the United States of Biafra regional governments in Finland? How many of us have a direct, you know, uh, access to the portal of our Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Ngozi Orabueze? How many of us make time, make effort to attend, the trial of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, even in High Court 7 at Abuja? How many of us make time to contribute, to encourage, to motivate, and to pray for the redeclared United States of Biafra? How many of us want to be associated with Biafra? Some of us, I watch the comments people give when they listen to some of our audios, and I see that a lot of Biafrans are still, deluded, thinking that freedom is given. No, freedom never comes easy. Freedom is never given. It is taken. Yes, you have to take it. Sometimes by fire, sometimes by force. The struggle must continue. Alotwa continue. Continua. Victory asatia. We must continue in the struggle. Nothing. We shouldn't look back. We should be forward looking all the time. How many of us are interested in matters concerning Biafra? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a clarion call to all of us, all freedom lovers around the world. The die is cast, there's no going back. Mazen Nnamdi's trial, Nnamdi Kanu's trial, and of course, our Prime Minister's trial. They said he's still being, investigated in Finland. These are things we should be bothered about. These are things that we should pay attention to because we have seen a selective form of justice. Every other region had their own Nnamdi Kanu. Every other region had their own Simon Ekpa. But at every point in time, they are pardoned unconditionally. They are reintegrated into the society, and they are, given positions of high authority. Our case should not be different. Our case should not be different. Audios found or claimed to have been found in the possession of our, Mazimun leader Mazen Nnamdi Kanu should not be quoted out of context, should not be played out of context. We should know that it was a direct reaction, to the issues at stake at that point in time. Ladies and gentlemen, till I come your time again, till I come your way again, let's reason on these lines. Yes, let's be careful. Let's be, future and forward looking, and let's wish the declared United States of Biafra everything good and positive. We shall overcome in the end. Victory is never easy. No, do not be deterred. Yes, there are thorns. I mean, before a diamond becomes a diamond, before a gold becomes gold, it must go through the furnace. It must go through intense heat and pressure. It must go through the hairs before a diamond is diamond. Before a gold becomes gold. Like I said, it must go through intense heat and pressure. It must go through the highest level of burning. Yes, it must, of course, undergo all this before it comes out with the quality and the value that it has for mankind. That is how the struggle is. It's never easy. The road to freedom is never easy. Ladies and gentlemen, till I come your way again, God bless you all. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Nnamdi Kanu ejere obodo oyibo kewere Simon Ekpa kpọchie ewepụ na ndị obodo oyibo kwuru sị adịghị eme ya eme. Nnamdi si ka o jebe obodo ebe enyi ya kpọrọ ya, enyi ya rịọ ya wee nara ego jide. Ọ nọ na nga. Chikwaba nke ọzọ anaghị itinye ọgba aghara, agụrụ ga-ebu Igbo, Yoruba ga-ahụ ihe a na-eri, Hausa ga-ahụ ihe a na-eri, mana Ista na agụrụ ga-ebu ha. Anyị ga-atọziri ahụhụ ọnụnụ ube nwanne agbala ọsọ, ọnụnụ ube nwanne agbala ọsọ, ọnụnụ ube nwanne agbala ọsọ, ọnụnụ ube nwanne agbala ọsọ. That there will be a terrible problem. I see army people running without gun. I see their guns seized. I see police people losing their guns as well. I see calamity. I am like Jeremiah of this generation. Some people used to say,